Hello students, welcome to class. Today we are looking at biology. We are taking the subjects of biology. And the topic before us is classification of living things. Before we go into the subject proper, the topic proper today, you will remember or you will recall that in our last video, we talked about living things and non-living things, that all organisms, all objects has been classified into two major categories, which are living and non-living things. And I did a good justice to delve into it and explain the characteristics of living and non-living things. Like, how do you know that something is alive and something is not? I explained in that video. If you have not seen that video yet, you need to go into the channel and locate the video and watch it so that you have a pre-understanding of what I'll be discussing today. Now today, in this video, classification of living things, I expect that at the end of today's class, you should be able to answer the following objectives. 1, you should be able to classify living things in hierarchy of taxonomy. Okay? Then you should be able to give 5 scientific names of common living things. Every living thing has a scientific name. Some people would also like to call them nomenclature names or botanical names. So you should be able to give some names, some examples, some names of 5 common organisms. And then you should be able to highlight characteristics of certain animals or plants, the kingdoms. I'm talking about kingdoms. What are the characteristics of these kingdoms? Plants in these kingdoms and animals in these kingdoms. You should be able to highlight that. Then, lastly, you should be able to give definitions to terms as mammals, virus, reptilia. You have heard these words a lot, especially virus, the COVID-19 virus. So what's a virus? You should be able to give a brief, in your own words, explanation after this class. I'm sure you will enjoy it. So sit with me, take your lesson, your notepad and your pen as we ride through this topic of classification of living things. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Before we went on the break, I highlighted the objectives regarding the subject we are looking at today, which is the classification of living things. Now, what do I mean by the classification of living things? It is simply the grouping of living things based on common characteristics or features shared. For example, in a classroom, we could classify the sexes in the classroom based on boys and girls. We can group and say, okay, we are forming a group. 2 long lines, form 2 long lines. Let the boys be here, let the girls be here. And then you see everybody fall into their sexes immediately. So that is classification. It is very important in our day-to-day life. We must classify things. So classification of living things based on taxonomy. Classification of living things based on taxonomy. What is taxonomy? Or what do I mean by classification of living things based on taxonomy? It is simply identifying organisms into categories or groups and naming them to distinct them from others. For example, these are insects. Why are they insects? They have a particular characteristics that is alike, that is different from mammals or different from birds. See, they have different characteristics. So we classify them based on their characteristics. For example, we say some type of people are boys. Why are they boys? We have some traits, some features that they possess that the other sex do not, and so we classify them as boys. So it is simply identifying organisms into categories or groups and giving them a specific name to distinct them from the other group. Do you understand? Now moving forward, we have example of a taxonomy or example of taxonomies. Now, this man, Carolus, he lived from 1707 to 1778. He was the one who published the first classification of plants and animals. published that of plants in the year 1753 and that of animals in the year 1758. He was the first man, the first scientist, to classify plants based on some features. I said, okay, based on this feature, we can put this set of plants in a group and put this other one in a different group. Never forget his name, okay? It's often come out in many WAEC and JAM questions, the name of this one.
Hi, if you are preparing for an exam, this channel is for you. We have loads of content for you, which we'll be releasing in coming days and weeks. Make sure you like this channel and subscribe to this channel, so that as soon as we are releasing those videos, you'll be notified by YouTube and you can have success all in one sitting.
Alright, this is his name and this is the Latin version of his name. Moving on. Why do we classify living things? Why don't we just, leave it? Why do we classify it? Why do we put things in group and categories and tags? Let's look at it. One, for easy identification of living things. We want to identify things based on features, based on specific values and tags. That's why we classify living things. Two, for easy study and research purpose. For research and study. And then to show trends and evolution, also to show trends of evolution. Okay? And then for easy referencing, this is why we classify living things. And then we have to trace geographical distribution of living organisms. Okay, this organism was first seen, or this monkey was first seen in Africa or in North America. So this is why we categorize and classify living organisms. Now we move on. Taxonomy classification of living things by hierarchy. That's what we're looking at next. Taxonomist. What's a taxonomist? A taxonomist is a person who classifies living things, okay, into hierarchy or groups. So we want to look at the way taxonomists have come about classifying living things. We have formally discussed that everything in life can be classified into living and non-living things. So living things have now been classified based on hierarchy. And as you can see by my diagram, the first on the hierarchy is what? Kingdom. So there are kingdoms. Okay? There are kingdoms, just like we have in the political sphere, in rural sphere, we have kingdom. In a kingdom, you can have the Oba, that's the king. And then you have the chiefs. And then you have the stewards, or the messengers, the elites. They call them council of headers, you see. So also, living things must be classified by hierarchy. So the first on the list is the word, the kingdom. Almost like the king, okay? Where the governing power or the governors dwell. Is the highest on the hierarchy. And then we have what? The phylum. And then we have the class, phylum. We have the class. And then from class, what's the next one? Order. Then from order, families make up an order. Then genus make up a family. Several genus make up a family. Then species. So you can go on to say several species make up a genus. Several genuses come together to make up a family, and on again. So it's safe to say several phylums come together to make up an animal kingdom or a plant kingdom or whatever kingdom you're talking about in that context. So I wrote a small note, a short note here. Species is the smallest unit. Of course, it is the smallest unit of the hierarchy of a plant or animal kingdom. They contain members common in features and interbreed among themselves. They cannot interbreed with the species of another kingdom. That's simple. So, a goat cannot be seen having sexual reproduction with a lion. They are not of the same kingdom. It's not possible. So, species of a common kingdom interbreed. They cannot interbreed. And you cannot see them living together or cohabiting. they do not live together, they do not breed together. You cannot see a dog now living with fishes. It's not possible because they belong to different kingdoms. Now, let's continue.
Hello, if you're enjoying this video and want to see more content relating to this towards your examination success, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, okay? Because we'll be releasing loads and loads of beautiful content tailored towards your examination success in one sitting. Now let's get back to the class.
Now we're looking at this subtopic, example of classification of humans to lions. We are looking at an example of two different kingdoms. Classification of two different kingdoms. We have the human, which you belong to, and then we have the kingdom of the lion. You can see both of us belong to the same kingdom, Animalia. Lions belong to the Animalia kingdom. Humans belong to the Animalia kingdom. We belong to the same phylum, to the same class, the same order. No, different order right there. You can see. We belong to the primate order. And the lion belongs to the what? Carnivora order. Now you have a question there. I have a question for you there. Can you give me an example, two other examples of primates and carnivore? You can give your answer in the comment section of this video. The top 3 fastest answer would get a special prize from me in the next biology class. Then we have family. We have the Hominidae, the Felidae, genus Homo and Panthera, and then the species Homo sapiens, Panthera leo. Next slide, please. Now, binomial system of nomenclature. What does binomial system of nomenclature mean? It basically gives each type of organism a generic and a specific name. The generic name begins with the capital letter, while the specific name begins with the small letter, as we saw in the previous slide. For example, when you are to write Homo sapiens, which is the genus name and the specific name for humans, Homo sapiens, you write the Homo beginning with the capital letter and the species sapien beginning with the word with the small letter. You don't write sapien, the sapien beginning with the small letter. It will be an error, except your teacher decides to value. But if you are writing it in an international exam, you'll be marked wrongly. So Homo sapien, Panthera leo, not okay. Please note that. Also for maize, C maize. You can see. So the genus begins with block letter or caps letter, while the species goes on with a small letter. Thank you very much. Moving forward. Now, kingdom. We've established before from my little diagram here that kingdom is the head of every living thing. So we are going into it to look at kingdom as the head of living thing. The man Carolus classified all living things, as I've said before, into 2 major kingdoms, plant and animal kingdom. However, because some unicellular organisms do not fit in properly, modern biologists consider to classify all living things into 5 major kingdoms. Now, Carolus divided all things into living and non-living, and further went on to say that all living things could be classified into plants and animals. But other biologists saw that, okay, there are some organisms, unicellular organisms, that do not classify as plants and animals. So they came about a 5 major parts or division of kingdoms we should be looking at. You can see it here. We have the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the fungi kingdom, the prokaryotes, or the bacterium kingdom. Okay, we have the Protista, the Monera. Moving on. But virus happens not to be in any of this kingdom. Why? Because virus can exist as a living and non-living thing. Virus are microscopic nature organisms which cannot be seen with the visible eye, or even with the aid of a microscope, but with a special electron microscope. When outside a living cell, viruses are there, non-living. You see, but once they find their way into a living cell, what happens? They begin to reproduce and begin to live and attack the cells. So, viruses do not classify or come into these kingdoms because they can be alive when they are outside the cell, and they can be dead when they are outside the cell, and alive when they are within the cell. Moving forward, this is an example of a virus. Okay, now moving forward, we begin with the first one, kingdom Monera. Example of kingdom Monera is bacteria. What are the features of bacteria? So you must have heard, don't eat that food, bacteria spread over it. This is how the bacteria looks like. See? So bacteria are living things. See? That's why they can reproduce, they can multiply. Okay? And they come from, they are bred by insects, houseflies, even in the atmosphere, even in your mouth right now, there are millions of bacteria, some harmful and some good. That's why you need to brush your teeth regularly to take out harmful bacteria. Okay, let's look at some characteristics of bacteria. Bacteria are unicellular. They possess autotrophic or heterotrophic mode of nutrition. In other words, some bacteria produce their own food through photosynthesis. Okay? Then they do not have mitochondria, no powerhouse, chloroplast, or reticulum. Bacteria are mostly prokaryotic. Moving forward to the next kingdom, kingdom Protista. Example of such organisms are amoeba. You must have seen an amoeba before, probably in your area, on the walls, especially those who stay in wet places, moist areas. You will see amoeba a lot. They are always in colonies, in clusters. They always live together. They are unicellular, heterotrophic, and photosynthetic mode of nutrition, asexual or sexual. And when I mean sexual, I mean they reproduce by fusion of gametes. Okay? No mitochondria also, chloroplast or reticulum, they are often eukaryotic. Moving on, we have the next kingdom, which is fungi, the fungi kingdom. Example, mushroom. Okay? What are characteristics of mushroom? Even by the diagram, you can pick some. They are not green plants, as you can see. They are unicellular and multicellular in nature. They can be unicellular or multicellular. They possess heterotrophic and photosynthetic mode of nutrition. They store food as glycogen. They are found in moist places. They like back of tree. They like stems, some parts of moist places in a cave. You see mushrooms. Not all mushrooms are edible. Note that. So you have to be careful if you are the type that eats mushrooms and they are eukaryotic. Hi, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you can do so in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And don't forget to hit the notification button. The fourth kingdom we are examining is the Plantae kingdom, which happens to be a very big and wide kingdom. The Plantae kingdom. The Plantae kingdom, they could either be thermophyta. We have different kind of algae, the blue algae, the red algae, belonging to different species of the thermophytas. And then we have the bryophyta, we have the thresophyta. Now, if you want to get more detailed explanation of this topic, because this topic is very wide, if you want to get more detailed explanation of the kingdom Plantae or Animalia kingdom, or other kingdoms as I have described here, we run at AllCBT a special tutorial center where you can subscribe to monthly and get rich explanation on biology as a deep science. Okay, you can connect with us using any of the contact page in the description, any of the contact channels in the description, or you can visit our website and see how to make an inquiry on this particular matter. Example of organisms in the Plantae kingdom are Spirogyra, maize plant, mangoes, mosses, all the plants you see around you. Okay? They all belong to the Plantae kingdom. Then the last kingdom we are looking at today is the kingdom Animalia, or the animal kingdom, which you belong to and I belong to. Now in the animal kingdom is divided majorly into two, the vertebrates and the invertebrates. What are vertebrates? Vertebrates are animals with backbone, while invertebrates are animals without backbone, as you can see. That's a short definition for you. Animals with backbone, without backbone, and with backbone. You can see butterflies, fishes, frogs, okay, turtle. Then we have birds, cats. So the first one here is Anthropodia. These are divisions of the Animalia kingdom. We have the Anthropodia, fishes, we have the amphibians, reptilia, we have aves, and then we have mammals. I have another question for you. What are mammals? What are the attributes of the Mammalia kingdom? Why do you call an organism a mammal? What are the features of mammals? You can answer that question in the comment section. The fastest and most accurate answers will get a prize from me in our next biology class. As we round up, let's see the last image we have here. We have the classification of animals, as I just explained. More examples. Okay, amphibians. You see, they are often on fours. You can see the toad, the frogs. We have the reptiles, the snakes, crocodiles, the alligator family, the tortoise, and then we have the fish, different kinds of fish. You see, then we have the birds and mammals. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you've learned one or two. Make sure you share this video and like and subscribe so that this video can continue to impact students like you across the YouTube network. You can also leave your comments and questions, or you send them to us personally in using our contact channels. We'll be happy to hear from you. My name is David Oluwatosin once again. See you in the next class.